Hi, my name is Pete the Temp, aka Pete Bearder. This is a short tutorial video for the Hip Yak Poetry Shack about aftercare for performers. I'm going to share a little bit of the research that I've been doing for my coming book on spoken word. Aftercare. A lot is said about warm-ups within the performance discipline of poetry, and I think it's really important to think about what happens after the gig as well, because these are really intense experiences that we put ourselves into as performer poets. Often it's very biographical information that we're exposing to the audience, and it's a very naked experience sometimes up on stage. I used to get really intense performance come downs and have learnt over the years to navigate that a little better. Performers will be very familiar with that feeling of not being able to sleep and lying in bed and just having that adrenaline of the gig going through you. Whether it's been a good gig or a bad gig, there's a lot of stuff moving around that room, and I think we have to be really careful about how we look after our own health in that, especially if you consider that touring or gigging puts us into contact with late nights, contact with alcohol and drugs, and this can cause insomnia, this can cause all sorts of health benefits. Some of the research that I came across also talks about how performing in the evening upsets the circadian rhythm. So whereas naturally in the evening your body and your nervous system winds down towards sleep and relaxation, if you're performing, it excites your sympathetic nervous system, your fight and flight mechanism in your body. It raises your blood pressure, your heart rate, the cortisol, stress hormones in your blood. And this can upset your sleep, and it can upset the rhythms of your body, and that can, over long periods of time, that can actually cause real damage to you in terms of fatal illnesses, right? So these are not small issues, and I think they deserve careful attention. I think if we're doing warm-ups, I think we also need to be thinking about doing warm-downs as well, and breathing exercises and ways that we can sort of bring things back in and look after ourselves. When I was working as a street performer, sometimes I would do 4 or 5 sets a day on the streets, and I would just need to spend some time after shows to just be completely on my own and completely silent, and just to kind of ravel the tentacles back in, right? Because when you're performing, you're right out there, and you're jumping into people's consciousness, and you're looking into their eyes, and you're making a connection, and that takes a huge deal out of us, emotionally, physically, intellectually, draining these activities. So ways that we can bring it back in and recenter ourselves. Meditation, I think, is really important for I would say for anybody, but especially for performing artists. If you think of meditation as a technique to regulate your thoughts and your emotions, then this makes perfect sense if you're putting yourself into a high octane environment of live performance. So if you don't have a meditation practice already, you can find ample tutorials online on YouTube. And I would encourage you to connect with that practice if you can. You may use yoga, whatever you use. I would think about the need to look after yourself after gigging. I have a friend who's big into Kundalini yoga. He teaches Kundalini yoga, and he said to me, you should meditate, and you should do breathing exercises after your gigs, not just for yourself but for the people that you were performing to. Maybe I'm not qualified to know quite why that would be. I would leave it up to you to work out whether that connection carries through. But certainly I think respecting ourselves, looking after ourselves is really important, because this is important work, and you're important, so look after yourself. I've been Pete the Temp, aka Pete Bearder. If you want to learn more about this, I have a book coming out called Stage Invasion. It's being published by Outspoken Press this summer, and I also have a lot of filmed interviews that I've done with poets across the country, so you can find that on my YouTube channel, and you can find out more information in the book if you like. Okay.